back. I'm Shrack, and today we're doing a helicopter Huey rescue mission with the Grim Reapers. A lot of them are going to be providing air cover. We have about 6 helo pilots attempting a rescue of a downed pilot, and so that's the mission today. Stand by, and I will wait for everybody to log in.
History called, and having come from a military family, brackets, the majority of the men in my family were in the army, close brackets, cool. I really love your videos. Just thought I'd put that in there. I have a couple of recommendations for the IAF, PAF, so that's the Indian Air Force / ever going conflict with the PAF, the Pakistani Air Force series. And we've got a Wikipedia link, Operation Safed Zaga. Okay, and here we have our reenactment. Bean, send.
Thanks, Cap. Yeah, so just to give a bit of background to the operation, it happened in May 1999 in the Kashmir Mountains area. That's an area between India and Pakistan where each year in winter the sort of forward operating bases, if you like, are vacated because it gets pretty cold, I should imagine, up in the mountains. And then in the spring, they then send the ground forces back out to reoccupy the posts. What happened in 1999 was that there were reports that actually forces from Pakistan were occupying not just their posts, but some of India's posts as well. So the Indian government then authorised an operation to go forward and to remove the occupation troops out of the area. It was quite limited from an air to ground sort of basis initially, because they didn't want to scale it up into a full-blown war, so it was quite limited. Now with the mission tonight, we're only doing one mission, so obviously we're compressing down effectively what was several months worth of air operations into one mission. So I apologize to the internet in advance for some of the historical liberties I've taken. We tried to keep it historically accurate, but of course we don't have all the airframes they had, and this isn't really reflecting any one particular day. It's several operations together. But initially what happened was that the Indian Air Force went in with both Mi-8s, as you've covered already, sorry, Mi-17s.
Yeah.
Mi-8, you covered already, Cap, as they could deal with the altitude there, so they used those as gunships. And then they had MiG-21s going in, doing air-to-ground work, and they also have MiG-27s, which is, a swing wing that's basically kind of the ground attack version of the MiG-23, if you like. So they had those going in, and what they found was that actually the Pakistani troops had been equipped with Stingers and man-pads. So when they were going in and doing rocket runs, they were under attack, and a couple of pilots got shot down. And after that, the Indian Air Force moved to laser-guided strikes instead, so that they could do that from a bit higher altitude. And so we tried to kind of replicate all of that going on in one mission. So what we've got tonight is we've got an attack on some of these occupied bases and bunkers. Now we don't have the MiG-27 as an aircraft in DCS. So again, I'm afraid with the nearest swing wing aircraft I could find, which was the F-14. Just to make life even more complicated, the aircraft the Indians used for laser designating was a Mirage 2000 TH. It's the two-seater Mirage, which we also don't have. So I've taken a massive historical liberty here, and I've basically taken our Mirage, which we've got in DCS. They're going to carry both GPUs and iron bombs as well. And then the F-14s are going to basically laser designate, so they're going to be buddy lasing the strike targets. So hopefully it will work out, right? Hopefully all the comms will work together. So the MiG-29 cap is there. So if we scroll down below the map of all the different targets, and then I'll cover the helo part of the mission in the second part. So if you scroll down and have a look, you'll see with the different flights, those unpronounceable names I'm not even going to try. That's actually the Indian names for the various platforms. So for example, the MiG-29A is called Baz. I presume that's how you pronounce it. So yeah, the MiG-29A, that's relatively accurate, and that's what they would have used for cap flights, that or the MiG-21. So we've got our cap flight tonight. Now, I must stress for the cap guys, I've modeled the zone of control. So, Kashmir is a disputed region, still disputed to this day. And you've got an area under control by Pakistan, an area under control of India. Please try not to cross the zone of control line. If you do, it will scramble a F-16 flight. Pakistan have F-16As, and they will come to intercept you. Now, obviously, if you decide you want to do that because you're getting a bit bored, then go ahead, but just be aware what the consequences might be. In real life, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to escalate the conflict any further than they had to. We then have, as I said, the Mirages will be taking off from Sanaki. We've had to use, obviously, the Caucasus map for the high altitude mountains here. So we've got that standing in for the Himalayas. So yeah, the M2Ks will be taken off from there, and then they'll have to travel to join up with the cap, and then the MiG-27s, which are actually F-14s in a false moustache again. Yeah, the idea is that we've only got Grump and Ruby tonight as a pilot Rio pair, so they'll be laser designating, and the Mirages will have to be talking to them to coordinate their attacks on the target. If that goes wrong, then the other F-14Bs can have a go. If that goes wrong, then we've got iron bombs, and you can try and have a go with those. Yeah, then we've got the MiG-21s. They're doing some support of the helicopters. So the next part of the mission, it's quite a long one tonight, quite a complicated one tonight, Cap. But the second part of the mission here is the helos part. And I thought it'd be interesting for the helos because it's all high altitude work, so it's quite challenging. It putting the environment back in player versus environment. So they've got to go and do a search and rescue of a downed pilot. So in the real conflict in Kargil, there were a couple of Indian Air Force pilots that got shot down. So here we're kind of recreating a little bit history. They rewriting history to a certain extent if they successfully pick them up. There will be some enemy ground troops in the area, so those will need to be taken out. The helos, you've got effectively the Mi-17s are the Mi-8s, they're the gunships. You've got Gazells standing in for the recon helicopter there that the Indian, I think it's the Army Air Forces have, which is the Howl Cheetah, which is a domestic kind of reconnaissance helicopter. Again, we're taking a bit of a liberty here by giving them Mistral and tows. They didn't have that in real life, but it's just in case the MiG-29s don't do a good job of protecting them. Kelso doesn't trust you, I'm afraid, Cap. No, I'm are going to actually do the actual picking up, and we'll get onto the targets in a bit to give you a bit more detail about that. Now, the idea is that the Gazells should also call in the MiG-21s, and the MiG-21s have got rockets. They can clear out some of the targets in the valley. If they do a horrible job, then of course you've got your Mi-8s there, and the tow hot armed Gazells to also protect the Hueys. So if we go over to targets. So here we've got a few recon photos. This is for the strike, for the fixed wing guys. You've got basically some bunkers either side of a valley there. They're kind of replicating those fortified positions that they have at high altitude that you saw in your previous video, Cap. And there's a command post at the bottom there. So all of the targets in this valley in the strike area need to be taken out, basically, whether that be GBUs or iron bombs, up to the strike guys. Just be aware that there is AAA and there's probably some stingers in there as well. Okay. So just going down, you can see a rough idea where the targets are positioned there in that grid square, just at the bottom of LN08. It's a little bit close to the line of control. So when you're orbiting, lasing the targets, just be aware of your position, because if you go, you'll see the line of control is next to some towns there, those orange blobs in a valley. Basically, if you go the other side of the hills and you cross into that town area, you're going to be considered invading forces, and the F-16s are going to come after you. Okay. Going to the threat and intel tab. There's a photo there of a Pakistani F-16A. I did a little bit of reading, and maybe the internet will correct me, the fellow viewers will correct me, but as far as I can tell at the time, they only had Fox 2 weapons, which were AIM-9s, and those are AIM-9Ms. So don't panic, you're not going to get an AMRAAM suddenly appearing out of nowhere. So they will have to close quite close to you to engage you. Okay. A little photo there of the Stingers as well, so just be aware of the Stingers. There's some AAAs at the strike target. The helo target, there shouldn't be any AAAs until you get very, very far down the valley. So don't worry about that. Then for the helos, as I said, there's a pilot that's been shot down that needs rescuing. Just be aware that you're operating at quite high altitude there. You know, some of those peaks are at 11,000 feet, so particularly the Hueys, you know, be mindful of your weight. There's no miniguns available at the FARP, so I recommend just your door gunners only, really. I've put half fuel in, so that should help you. For the Mi-8s, you know, whatever you want to carry, because it's not so much a problem for you. The pilot will trigger a flare, a smoke flare, when he sees friendly aircraft, so that should help you find his position. And he's also got one of these electronic locator beacons as well on frequency 40 FM, so that's 40 FM. So you should be able to tune into that and be able to find him with the helo, with the Huey directional radio. And then for the CAS, the MiG-21s, I've just stuck a big TV tower in just towards the entrance of the valley there, where the helos are going to be working. That's just for orbit reference. Again, the Gazells should be talking to the MiG-21s and calling them in on target as and where needed, a bit like we did in our 6-day war missions. So that's it. I've just drawn a few lines there for a kind of a rough idea of a route for the helos, because, you know, it gets steep there very quickly, so just be mindful of the terrain. If anyone's got any questions, then feel free to fire away.
I've got an addition. We're gonna have everybody following me up that valley, and I'll be on 126 for the MiG-21s. And we'll make 2 marks on the map. After I make the initial marks and the run-in directions, Artemia is going to take care of the CAS, so you'll be listening to him on 126. And I'll chat with the helo guys when we load in.
Crumb, do you know what you're doing? Because you're mainly leading the attack.
I do, yeah. Once we take off, I'm going to assume that the MiG-29 flight's going to fly along with us to the target. And we're going to enter an orbit over that and begin our laser designation. I've got Ruby on here. He's told me that he reliably knows how to use the targeting pod for laser designation, so I'll help talk him onto targets as we see them and call in our flights whenever they're ready to drop bombs.
And you're going to be on calling that 128?
1688.
Yeah, it'll be 1688 since we're the only ones lasing. Yeah, and we'll be on common frequency 128.
Roger.
Copy that.
This is also a really good summary, guys. With myself and RC have done 3 small videos on this conflict already. One of the helicopters, the Mi-17s. We're trying to take down the SAM enriched hard targets on the mountains. We've done the bombing of Tiger Hill, which is literally also what we're doing today. It's when one of the Mirage THs dropped a 2,000-pound laser guided GBU-24, GBU-10, something like that, on a hardened installation, and another one that I've completely forgotten because we did it so long ago. And now we're piecing it all together in the one big final mission. I think it's wonderful. So well done, Bean. Any other tactical questions, guys?
Sorry, Cap, just to add from Bean, for picking up the pilot, he's just a normal troop, so it'll be the normal troop menu for the helos. It's not CTLD or anything like that.
Roger. Does anyone have the ability? Is anyone going to have the ability to keep an eye and make sure we don't go across that line? Because that's critical. That would usually be a GCI doing that IRL. But do we have anyone to work on that? Otherwise, I guess not. Okay. Anything else before we head off then, guys? Right. No weapons restrictions, Bean.
If I've done the warehousing right, it should be okay. So yeah, you're not going to have any Phoenixes for the F-14s or anything like that. It should be all period accurate. As I said, try getting the M2Ks to the Mirages to do the GPUs on body lacing, but I've also given them iron bombs in case that goes wrong, so they can always use those as well.
Roger, guys. I shall see you in the air. It doesn't sound like we're going to be rushed, so take your time, get it right, and watch that line. I'll see you in there.
Request rearming. Copy.
Alright, so we're pretty much ready to go. We're just loading up these. Oh, they're right there. Okay. I guess we're done.
Rearming complete.
Now we're done. Talking to Shrack, I thought I was off the pad.
Yeah, off the pad. I see one Huey still on the pad. Are you ready to go? Power.
Okay, so here's the Tacview file, and I'm basically going to focus on me. There's also a whole other air mission with some fixed wings over here, and they have their whole other mission. They're doing that separate from us, supposed to be supporting us. It didn't work out that way. So here's this one in about 20 times speed. So you can see we're all loading up here. So this is when everybody's moving around and hopping off the helipads to let them know that we're loaded up. And I guess I was off the helipad. I wasn't off the FARP, and I guess he wanted me to be off the FARP, not the helipad. So I had to move again, and that's that move. And then we all take off. Kind of a swarm of choppers coming up the valley. You can see their air mission up here. So we're climbing up the valley as much as we can. I remember seeing them fly by. That was kind of cool. So here's me. And Bendy went the wrong way, I guess. Bendy. You went the wrong way, bro. So this is when we're all rescuing this downed pilot. I just take an orbit because we don't all need to land on the mountaintop. I guess I took a tighter orbit. Other people are kind of orbiting too. And then we go down and attack some troops in the valley here, and I got a lot of kills down here. Destroying a bunch of trucks. My left gunner went out of ammo, so I went to the right side. I'm going to slow this down a little bit. This is me searching for more targets. I see them fly by again. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just follow them. I guess there was still one man alive in there. Bendy gets shot down there, I guess. Let me slow that down. I mean, you can see somebody shooting at him, and you can see parts of his chopper falling off. I remember seeing him on fire. So I think he knows he's in trouble at this point. And they're still shooting at him. So I guess my gunner starts engaging them pretty heavily. And he's disappeared, but he's still like in a burning mess flying over me right now. He's just not on the Tacview anymore, and he comes down and crashes right next to these targets. So we just light him up. I guess almost everybody's dead at that point. I'll just accelerate this and back it up. Focus on me here. I guess these Mi-8s came in and shot some missiles, destroying a bunch of stuff, which is great. I think I got a couple kills on that. So I'll pause it here. Bendy crashed right here. He went down in a ball of flames straight into the ground and exploded. I didn't think a rescue mission was feasible, but they called a rescue mission. So when they called it, that's when, you know, I turn around here to go and help with the rescue mission. I was thinking about rescuing him, but I was like, there's no point. There's no surviving that. So Centillion lands and picks up, you know, we simulate that that's a rescue of the downed pilot, Bendy. And then he picks him up and flies him home. And we all just return to base, and I'll accelerate that part. Getting over that saddle was a challenge, and then it's just an easy flight down the valley from there. And coming in for a landing was a bit... I was trying not to stall it and plummet towards the earth, doing a nice transition from wing-borne flight to hover flight. And I kind of did a nice flare there, I guess. I got a compliment on my landing. So in real time. You can't see the FARP, but you can see flare and kind of rocket down onto the ground. So that was that. And that's the end of the mission. Everybody else comes in and lands. that's that. The fixed wingers are still up in the air by the time that this file stops. Their mission was a little bit longer, I guess, and they had some issues, so they might be reflying this mission. I don't know if I'll be able to join them for that. Okay, guys, I'm Shrack. That's the mission. I appreciate you watching. Go ahead and click the like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you next time.